Hello, welcome to another weekly update. I hope you're doing well. So the setup this week is slightly different and talks to one of the things I'm going to be mentioning this week. But I've kind of reorganized the desk and the camera and the microphone and where everything is because I'm going to be doing some videos. I've done some videos. I have lots more to do. So this setup is kind of staying for a couple of days, but it means that for doing exactly this, it's quite hard to jump around. So I'm standing up, not sitting down. It's going to be a struggle when we come to looking stuff together on the screen, but bear with me this week. It is what it is. The light's nice here though, I think, so there's that. But yeah, bear with me, and it also means it's going to be quite hard to make transitions. So yeah, if you see me looking around and trying to click stuff, that's probably why. So a couple of things to talk about this week. So a big one concerns Microsoft Teams resource-specific consent. So if you're not at all familiar with what RSC is, you might well be familiar with the problem it's solving. So let's think about wanting to make some changes to a particular team setting or a particular group membership or update a group membership or upgrade group permissions or something like that. Now, if you're an application, maybe you want to do those things on a team that you've just created or on just one or two teams in the organization. However, if you've tried doing this, the permission set you need inside for Graph is kind of really wide. Like you have to have groups.read-write-all, and that's a big ask for IT admins to sign off on, because your application then is getting access to change any group in the tenant. And so that's been a bit of a stumbling block. That's the problem that resource-specific consent solves. So resource-specific consent allows an application to say, well, I want this particular permission, but I only want it for this team. And when you do that, what Graph will do is allow team owners to sign off on that permission and put team owners in the driving seat for authorizing actions that happen to their team. So an application can say, I want to be able to update this group settings, or what else it is, update the settings for this team, update the channel name and the description, and get a list of the messages, right? But only for this one team. So when when a team owner adds that application into their team, they get to see all those things that the application is going to do. They get to say, okay, they don't need to get an IT admin involved. So this is a very unlocking release. This technology unlocks applications from and enables them to go into teams and be managed by team owners without IT admins having to get involved, because the scope of the permission is vastly reduced. Anyway, that's what resource-specific consent is. It's been in beta for quite a long time. I blogged about it before. I've got blog posts on how to set it up, how to configure it, how you put it into your application and all the rest of it. The big news from today is that it's going GA. So it's been in beta for quite a long time. It's now going GA, and that's really good because it means it can go into all these big enterprises, big organizations where getting exactly that type of IT admin sign-off has been so problematic. So this is really good to see. This went on November 9th, so a couple of days ago, and so you should see this now everywhere you do resource-specific consent. It's now in the GA channel. It's kind of fully supported, and so if you are holding back because you're waiting for that GA tag, it's now here. So that's really good, and yeah, that sort of covers a whole load of sort of Teams channels and messages, API calls with some very specific permission sets. So the blog post has all the detail for those, so I'll put a link to that in as well. Okay, other things that are happening. So this is interesting. So I use the Microsoft Graph changelog quite a lot to understand and know what's happening inside Microsoft Graph. It's got a lot of moving parts. Things get added, things get changed. Microsoft Graph have a really nice changelog that enables you to see what's changing month on month. The format and the layout of that is changing quite a lot, and I dug into this a little bit, and it turns out there's a few different ways to access this changelog. So let me show you first of all. So this is the blog post about a new redesigned Microsoft Graph changelog, and I was looking at this and I was like, okay, great, that's fine, and that's interesting. The changelog that I'm used to seeing is actually this one. So this is the changelog I've always used, and it comes from the Microsoft Docs page. So I always find it here in the Microsoft Graph documentation under API changelog, and this is where I go to see, you know, what's new and what's interesting, what's being added and what's being changed. Turns out this same changelog, or at least the data behind it, is now accessible not at docs.microsoft.com, but at developer.microsoft.com/graph/changelog. And if you do that, you get a completely different experience. Look at this. It's got filtering. You can narrow your search to just look at V1 changes rather than beta changes. You can look at different services. You can specify particular dates. There's even an RSS feed link. So this is really nice. This is much richer than the one in Docs. It allows, obviously for a much more scoped approach. I really like it. I think it's really good. It reminds me a little bit of the changes around the Microsoft Graph roadmap, the Microsoft 365 roadmap. But this is just scoped to graph changes. So if you've been using the old one, I would suggest using this new one. Maybe setting up some filters and then making some RSS feeds as well, so you can keep track of what's going on. The RSS feeds respect the filters. So if I was to tick v1.0 here and then get the RSS feed for that, if you look in the let's just open that in a new tab so you can see. Actually, the URL for that includes the filter as well, so that's really nice. So that's very cool. Okay, so I talked a little bit about videos, so let's cover that off now. Yeah, I'm doing a whole bunch of new videos. Basically, this year has... oh, hang on. So one of the problems with standing here talking is I always forget to... There we go. Change the view back. Right. Yeah, so obviously this year has been an unusual year when it comes to conferences and speaking. I've not been to any of the places I thought I was going to go to, but on the flip side, I've done lots and lots of conferences that I didn't think I was going to because I was not encumbered by the challenges of trying to get there. So I've spoken in Ottawa, I've spoken in Southampton, I've spoken in Chicago, virtually, of course. So that's been really interesting and that's been really good. But as I come to the end of the year, I've been thinking, well, actually, many of these conference talks have been recorded, and those recordings are available if you go via those different user groups or those different conferences. You can go and find them. But actually, maybe it would be nice for me to record all the talks I've done this year and collate them together and put them out as a referenceable material. Because the reality is, over Christmas, over the kind of winter holiday period, all those talks really, they have a limited lifetime, and coming into the new year, I'm going to be putting together a new series of talks because all the topics change, the technology moves on, the things that were exciting in 2020 are old hat by the time you get to 2021, and a whole load of new interesting things are out. So that's what I'm doing. I'm putting together a series of videos covering the materials that I've been talking about at conferences in this year, and I'm going to be blogging, put some blog posts out and videos. They're all going to be on my YouTube channel, obviously all free, and I'll put the slides there as well. So that's what I've been doing the last couple of days, and explains the weird setup. So I'm telling you because if you're watching and listening to this, you might be interested in that, and you get kind of it's coming, so you know how to look out for it. And I'll probably talk about it again on here once it's done. Okay, some other interesting things that I thought were interesting. So Power Platform. So specifically low code, no code people, so not sort of pro development stuff. There's a whole, I came across this this afternoon. This is really cool. A Power Platform Learn place to, like a course for Power Platform people. So there's actually two courses here. There's a Power Apps Canvas app from zero to hero. So this is for people who want to make Power Apps. And actually this does not have to exclude pro developers, because I'm a huge advocate of the best code you write is not the code, is no code at all. So something like Power Apps, if you need a simple CRUD application with a user interface that, kicks off some process or makes an API call, whatever, maybe actually a Power Apps is a nice place to do that and a good way to do that. So understanding the capabilities you have in Power Apps, what you can do, can really save you time as a developer, by meaning you're not reinventing the wheel and writing everything from scratch. And then the other one that looks really interesting as well is the Project Oakdale stuff, and how that works and how that integrates with Power Apps, how it integrates with Teams. Again, super relevant right now for people writing apps for Teams. Yeah, really, really interesting, both of those. So, so shout out to Rory Nearney. Sorry, I'm going to brutalise your name because I can't really see. That's right, isn't it? Rory Neary. Fellow MVP, who put those together. So they are definitely worth a look at. And finally, I want to just talk about this article, which I found really interesting. So, another fellow MVP. Building an Office add-in using SPFx. Well, why on earth would you want to do that? Firstly, I didn't even think you could do this, but anyway, I know lots of people, lots of developers are SPFx developers, SharePoint developers, and that's a really useful skill to have right now, because obviously SPFx can go straight into Teams and be that place, and enable you to do that stuff. Use your skills in SPFx to make really nice applications, but then surface them in Microsoft Teams. But actually it turns out that you could write a Office add-in using SPFx as well, which I had no idea. I didn't think you could do that. In my head, Office add-ins are the old com stuff, and then I suppose there is also that newer VSTO, which I think is just a web page behind the scenes, so I guess it kind of makes sense. But yeah, so if you have SPFx skills, I don't, but if you have SPFx skills and you need an Office add-in, maybe you could use this to kind of quickly get going. So I think I know who wrote this. I think it's Bill, and if so, it'll be really nicely laid out. It does definitely look like it's really nicely laid out. Proper instructions to show you what to do. Doesn't assume too much. Tells you kind of what you need to do and all the rest of it. So this is a really nice blog post. If that appeals to you, if you're that kind of person, and you have SPFX skills and you are looking to make an Office 365 add-in, then yeah, definitely give that a go. All right, I think that's everything from me. Kind of went long this week, sorry about that. Look out for those videos as I'm going to be doing them over the weekend. Whatever else is you're doing this weekend, I hope you have a great one, and I will talk to you again next time. It's going to be a not quite the seamless end to this video as you might normally expect, because I can't see where to click to end the stream. All right, thanks.